Today's Mercedes-Benz interview of the day brought to you by Mercedes-Benz EV. What makes a Mercedes-Benz EV different? Electric is what gets you there, but Mercedes is what moves you. The vehicle, all electric, the feeling, all Mercedes. The choice, all yours. Learn more at mbusa.com/EQ. He's the Hall of Fame coach, former Duke head coach. He's Mike Krzyzewski, obviously lonely, needing a friend, needing somebody to talk to. And here I am once again, Coach. What would you like to talk about today?
Well, I went through my list and I got to the bottom.
Yep.
And there you were.
Yep. I'm always here for you. Always here for you. How you doing?
You. Yeah, I'm good. I had a big operation in January on my ankle and foot, and it's taken a couple months to get over, but I'm starting to walk around a little bit. So that's good.
If Nick Sabin had called you 3 months ago and said, what is retirement like? What advice would you have told Nick Sabin?
Well, he's done pretty well. He's got another gig. So I didn't want another gig. I would say that make sure that you want to stop coaching, first of all, and then have a plan. I already had a plan. I have a lifetime contract at Duke, so I have my same office, and I'm in my same conference room right now, and I'm like an ambassador for the school, and I'm a professor at Fuqua. I got a lot going on at Duke, but then I speak a lot for the Washington Speakers Bureau, and I have a Sirius XM show. We have a huge nonprofit in Durham, the Mike Krzyzewski Center. We service about 2,000 kids, and I got 10 grandkids. I'm a happy guy. I'm doing everything that I like to do, and including being with you today.
Of course.
Yeah.
Tougher to be removed from the sport at the start of basketball season or tournament time?
It's not been tough at any time. I was ready to move on. By the way, I'm also advising for the NBA, so I'm at all their meetings, the competition committee, the GM meetings, and that's been really, really good. But I love the game. I watch the game. I see more of the ACC teams than I've ever seen, and I'm interested, and I try to help Coach Shire in whatever way I can. But I don't miss the coaching. Probably the only thing I miss is the relationship between me and a player. Because that's what I spent my whole life doing.
Where's NIL heading?
Wow, you're goodbye. I didn't get out. I didn't stop. Plus, I don't like the word "get out." I didn't retire. Get out means like I wanted to escape for something.
Yeah.
I didn't retire because of the new environment in college sports. It would have been exciting to try to adapt to that because during my 40, 50 years, you have to keep adapting. This is the biggest adaptation, I think, in the history of college athletics. And it's not been coordinated. We don't have a leader. We don't even know who to call into a meeting to discuss what needs to be discussed. This has been 3 years now, Dan, and it shows the state of the NCAA 3 years ago, and the fact that it has not been able to do a damn thing in these 3 years. And instead of complaining about what it is, just accept the fact that this is a new time. And just because it isn't like the old doesn't mean it's not okay. This is what it is. And we should figure out how to do what it is in the best interest of everyone. And I think it's an exciting time if you had leadership and an organization to put your arms around it.
But NIL wasn't supposed to be a recruiting tool.
No, you're right.
But that's what it's become.
Well, because there weren't any guidelines. In other words, we should have anticipated. NIL, the intended consequences of NIL are pure. A youngster gets, because of their abilities, their talents, they get different opportunities. That's good. That's really good. But what we've done is we form collectives and to pay players, basically. Hey, that's the way it is right now. If there was a plan, there's never been a plan, So as a result, the entrepreneurial spirit of our country, of people, takes it to unintended consequences that I don't know are necessarily bad. Maybe we should have gotten there already. But instead of bringing everything back, let's say this is where it is right now. How can we organize it? How can it be transparent? If you ran the Knicks and I ran the Celtics, I know your pace. I know everything. And in college sports, you do not know that. There's no transparency. That I don't think that's good, because then I don't trust you. You don't trust me.
But what you're saying, there should be transparency, that you should know what Clemson is spending or Notre Dame is spending. That lets you...
In some way, yeah. Can we create, and maybe I would think that we could do that, but if not, what's the model? What model do we have?
That's the NCAA calling you right now, Coach.
Yeah, it's my agent saying, "What am I doing? What am I doing on this show? You're ruining your ability to attract people." No, the transparent. I think it's good for kids to make money. I think it's good.
But should we know how much they're making?
In some way, we should know that. But in some respects, they are independent contractors,
Yeah.
And so people say, do we bring them all under one umbrella, and are they paid by the university? It's complicated, but that's what leadership should figure out. That's what big business does. That's what countries do. That's what, but who is doing that?
So you have no faith in the NCAA right now?
Well, I haven't had faith in the NCAA for a long time. And
just want to clarify that.
But what I think is the NCAA is a really good organization. The thing the NCAA does the best is run championships for Division I, II, and III, and they run them in an outstanding manner. There's probably a level of rules or something that keeps us all together that we could have. But Charlie Baker has put out, maybe there should be this elite division, or basically saying, what is football going to do? Well, let's find out what football is going to do. And if there's going to be another division, what does that do to the other three divisions? In other words, you don't just throw out stuff without saying, if they do this, it will lead to this. Yeah. And it doesn't make sense to me. And we spend a lot of time now trying in Congress so that we are protected antitrust wise. And some of that is good, I think, but it's the purpose of it. If we protect it, let's go back to the old structure. See, I think we should restructure the NCAA. We should restructure college athletics, and then figure this thing out. What happens in the NCAA, in their transformation committees and all these committees, they're inundated with compliance people who are rule oriented. And they're good at that. I have 10 rules and I'm going to make you obey them, or I'm going to punish you. That's not what we should be doing. Now we should be, an entrepreneur doesn't think that way. And by the way, they should be an entrepreneur because they have this asset that's worth $1 billion that should be worth more if they negotiated it better. And it's a treasure. It's what makes the NCAA go. It's called the NCAA Tournament. And we're in it right now because it started with all the conference tournaments to see who gets in.
He's the Hall of Fame coach, Mike Krzyzewski. I talked to Jim Boeheim about possibly expanding the tournament, and he was fine with 96. And I said, well, that's the regular season. I mean, everybody gets an opportunity to make the tournament. You have conference tournaments. Why do we need to expand unless it's just money driven by the NCAA?
You know, Dan, I wish people would stop talking about changing the NCAA tournament right now. It's a treasure. It works. It's beautiful. You don't expand something not knowing what it's going to fit into in the future. We do not know the future of the NCAA, and the NCAA owns the tournament. Until we find out, like, are there going to be 4 divisions? Are there going to be power conferences? Until you find that out, don't throw out 72, 78. I don't think.
Yeah. It's
a treasure right now. And during this time of the year, it's like a cool thing to talk about. Expansion. And I wish Charlie Baker wouldn't talk about expanding it until he knows what his organization is going to be 5 years from now. And by the way, we're under contract for another 8 years, I think, because we screwed it up.
Yeah, but they break contracts all the time, Coach.
Yeah.
They do.
Well, yeah. But what I'm saying, Dan, is, it's pretty damn good right now. In fact, it's a treasure. It's priceless. And every kid right now who plays Division I basketball has a chance because of the conference tournaments. In other words, I wish we would publicize the conference tournaments that started last week. There were 8 or so buzzer beaters in the Atlantic Sun and Patriot League and all these things. And to celebrate the tournament from its start, that is the start of the tournament. And it lends itself into the 68. And that's the beauty of there's no other sport that takes over a month. And then we're so good, we even take a week of April.
Yeah.
Now we got to be careful not to mess it up.
Would Caitlyn Clark get the green light if you were her coach?
Damn right. Did JJ Redick get the green light? I mean, you have.
Yeah, but she shoots. She had more range than JJ Redick.
Not necessarily. I wouldn't go that far. She has more range than you.
Yeah, barely. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, but it's a little bit. You're a high percentage shooter too.
Yes.
But so
you would let her shoot from wherever she wanted to.
Well, I would love to coach her. I had her on my show about 2 months ago. She's genuine. I mean, she has a spirit. I would love to coach that spirit. I mean, she's courageous. She is not afraid to fail. And even in their Big Ten championship game, I think she had 4 points at halftime. Yeah. And then she goes for 30 more. And it's great. And I love what the women's game has done over these last 2 years. They schedule big games early. They've highlighted their stars. They've gotten more exposure TV wise. And I think that's so good for the game.
Does Duke have a plan in place for storming the court?
This is crazy. From 1996 until I retired, we lost 70 road games. We won about 2/3 of our road games. In those 70 games, we had 58 court stormings.
Wow.
And we asked the ACC to do something about it. I said, well, it doesn't happen. I said, no, it happens to us. And they've never done anything. For Duke, our policy has been, just with me and the students, when I still coached, you don't storm the court unless it's a championship. And in other words, don't let the opponent think that they're more important than our pursuit of a championship. And we have lived that. Every once in a while, like Dockery hit a half-court shot like 20 years ago, and they did that. But we don't want that. We don't want to give our opponent that level of respect. That the only respect we should have is for winning a league, the ACC tournament championship or the NCAA championship.
Yeah, but I don't know if we can stop these students. My thought was make sure you surround the opposing team.
Yeah.
It's incumbent that you get them off the floor safely, and then the university is liable if you happen to come on the floor after that. Like more security for a bigger game.
Well, I think, though, you start out by saying we don't allow court stormings. The second step is you make sure you have security. And the third step is you fine. And if you fine, the team that gets stormed on gets the money. And because we would have made probably $1 million with all those storms.
That's true.
And but in other words, there has to be some rule, just like we don't allow bank robbers. Okay. That doesn't mean we don't have security in banks. And it doesn't mean that if someone breaks in the bank, we don't punish them. So I think you have to have some semblance of order with the recognition that there still will be some court stormings. And then what do you do when that happens? And in other words, there's some level of organization or
decorum.
We're all over the place a little bit.
Before I let you go, how long did it take you to learn how to spell your last name when you were growing up?
Yeah, forget about spelling it, saying it. And we lived in inner city Chicago. One of my uncles was a cop, and we lived on the north side and on the south side. My Uncle Joe. And when we go there for Christmas, we'd get in, and the first thing he would ask me is, "What's my name?" And so at 5 or 6, before I walk in, I'm asking my mom, "Mom, what's my name?" Krzyzewski. So I didn't have to spell it for a long time. Other people had to spell it, but it took me a while to pronounce it.
Good to catch up with you. If you get lonely, you need to talk to somebody, I'm always here.
Yeah, well, I've enjoyed our friendship, and I wish you would get rid of some of the clutter, though. Yeah.
I keep everything, Coach.
Yeah,
I do.
You're very possessive. You have
yes,
a garage full of stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I'm not knocking you.
It feels like it.
Well, I'm giving you a suggestion.
Okay, but I'm not saying, hey, get rid of the stuff in your office there. Seems like there's a little bit of...
Well, you wouldn't want to get rid of any of this stuff.
Good to talk to you.
All right.
Thank you, Coach. That's Coach K. Krzyzewski.